Well, good morning. It's Sunday, September 25th, and as you can see, we're back underneath the Jeep. So it's cold this morning, so I've got the garage door down, and I'm on call for a customer. So I'm electing to do this in my garage instead of driving to where I normally would drive to. And in the last video I did, there was a problem here where the transmission drain plug is blocked by the exhaust crossover off of the catalytics. So I was thinking, like, can you just loosen that flange right there and push this exhaust down just enough to get some room to put that new tool in there? So that's what I'm trying to do here this morning, is just see if I can loosen that. So everything's cold here, so the vehicle's been parked for over 24 hours. So I thought, well, let's just try and loosen this up and see if maybe we can, I guess I need an extension, see if we can do this without cutting a brand new $15 17 millimeter tool I just got at Napa. So I don't have the vehicle on jack stands. Figured I'd try this with it just sitting on the ground. And I've never taken these off before. Oh yeah, okay, so once the first one's loose, the other one's, dang it, pretty much good to go. I need to get upside down here. Much better. Well, that's still a little tight. So in the last video, I changed the transfer case fluid just to see, I want to see fluid condition after 15,000 miles. I expected the transfer case to be just fine, which it was. The one that I'm concerned about is the transmission. From the factory, I've heard of some people, when they pull this drain plug, they're not getting a full rated spec of fluid out of the transmission. It's like 1 quart instead of 1.6. So I thought, it's grinding a little bit when I go from 2 to 3 in low range. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is gonna work. Oh yeah. Okay, so I think with that loose, just a little bit, yep, I should be able to get my socket in there and pop that drain plug off. So that might be a little tip or trick for anybody that wants to change their transmission fluid on their Jeep. Unhook the exhaust here, because it seems to be working. I'm gonna go get the tool and make sure. So here's what I've done. This is not under as much tension as you might think. It's just to hold it, because I need like a third hand. So now I can get the tool in there. I don't think it's in there all the way. I might need to put one more crank on this, but so I should be pulling this a little lower, to be honest with you. I'm just not seeing a good location to do that. But I went and got a ratchet strap and just put it around this, and I mean, really, it's not under that much tension. So I think if I could just get that a little bit further, it's pulling it kind of up, which that's not helping my cause here. I'm trying to think of where I can pull down on this from and actually have it pulled down. And I'm not seeing, I guess I could try this lower control arm mount is lower than right there, so I'm gonna loosen this up and we'll try it again, but this is gonna work. So here's what we've done. I've still got the strap around it, and I mean, yeah, there's some tension on it. I mean, you know, it takes a lot of force to pull that over. I wrapped my strap around the lower control arm. I just kind of moved it around until it did what I wanted. But now I can just shove that tool right in there. No fuss, nothing. So yeah, it's it's under tension. It's got a lot more force on it than it did the first time I did it, but I mean, I can shove that, I can shove that tool right in there. So we're gonna see. I don't know if I'm still not quite in there straight. It's hard to tell. I mean, I'm definitely going in there. So I don't know, let me pop this on here and see if yeah, I'm at the bottom of the plug, so I'm definitely in there. So obviously, before we commit to this, we need to know that the fill plug is going to come loose before we do anything dramatic. So I'm going to slide some stuff out of the way here, and that's my 17, so my 14's laying somewhere. Who knows where. Alright. So the fill plug's on the passenger side. I've heard that they're kind of a booger to get off of there. The transfer case was barely on there at all. So let's see here. You know what? I do need that extension because the exhaust pipe is in my way. Oh yeah, that's on there. See if we can get a little more leverage on it here. There we go. Yep. Okay. So once it's free, we're good. I got to grab the oil pan just in case something comes out here. I don't think anything's going to come out, just based on the fact that, you know, most of the videos I'm seeing, nothing's coming out when you pop these plugs. I think that's finger loose now. It's loose enough with the bit. I'm going to grab a rag. Gotta have a couple shop rags, you know. So, we're getting pretty loose here. Like I said, I think, yep, as expected, no fluid came out of the hole. But now I know that I can get the drain plug loose. Yeah, and there isn't, where is it in there? See, I stick my finger in there and there isn't even any fluid on my finger. So I kind of wonder, I'm glad I'm doing this because I have heard, it's dry and I shoved my finger in there pretty far. I have heard that these have been underfilled from the factory, so that's really disappointing. It's actually kind of frustrating that they would be underfilled from the factory like that, but you know, I guess whatever. Regardless, we'll go ahead and pop the plug here. This should be pretty simple. Oh yeah, we got the tool all the way in there. I've heard horror stories of people stripping these plugs, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen, especially only with 15,000 miles on the vehicle. Trying to find a way here that I can get on this without an extender. There we go. Yeah, so this is not in here very tight. The fill plug was in here tighter. But anyway, I expect with the exhaust out of the way, this should not be very messy. I've got a little bit of dirt around the hole. I'll address that before I put the plug back in, but there we go. Perfect. Yeah, I've got some metal shavings on it for sure. So since this is cold, the vehicle's not, I haven't ran it at all in the last 24 hours. I just want to wipe my hands off and then I'll show you guys the metal shavings and stuff that are on there. There is no way that 1.6 quarts of fluid came out of there. So this was underfilled from the factory, just like some of the others I've heard about online. So I'm going to step away for probably 10-15 minutes and let that dribble all the way out since the fluid's cold. It might even be longer. But I guess before then I'll show you guys the looks like just normal wear and tear metal shaving, but you can see there's metal shavings on there. Could be synchros. I don't know if the synchros in these transmissions are brass or not. On the TJ I think they were, but yeah. I'll go into the other part of the garage and get a screwdriver and kind of dig all that out of there, but there's quite a bit of metal on that. But anywho, I'm going to let this drain for like 10-15 minutes. About 10 minutes or so has elapsed. I'm still getting some random drips. I've wiped off the magnet, got all the metal shavings out. And then here, as this had slowed down, I stuck my finger up in there just to see, make sure there wasn't any giant metal shavings or anything sitting on this lip right inside here. And it came out pretty clean, barely cloudy, anything. So it's been dripping like this for quite a while now. I mean, 5 of the last 10 minutes, it's just been a real slow drip. So I think we're good. I'm going to go ahead and start the plug going back in, and before we tighten it up, I'll just kind of wipe all this off. That'll tell me if we're dripping here later too. Get it all nice and clean back up. I got a little bit more on the exhaust crossover than I wanted, but it'll burn off. I think while it's burning off. So we can carefully slide that out of the way for a little bit and start tightening this guy up. It wasn't terribly tight coming out of there. I think the spec on this is 22 foot-pounds, and I'm kind of just watching my threads here as to where it was when I took it off, and that's in further than it was because I'm peeling off some of the other factory, looks like thread sealer. So I think that we're okay here. I don't want to get on there too terribly crazy without a torque wrench, but we'll go to there. And down at the shop, I've got access to a torque wrench, so we'll check it. We'll check it here soon. But for today, I believe we're going to be just fine. So, and being that there's no oil on the garage floor, if this for some reason drips, I'll know. Now, the fluid, contrary to what one auto parts store in town told me, they said it's ATF4, just like the transfer case. That is not true on the manual transmission. It is NSG370, manual transmission lubricant from Mopar. You can find it online. You can go to the Chrysler dealer and pick it up. They had basically the same price as it was online. It was like $1 difference plus tax, so not a terribly big deal. And then back here I've got my fluid pump, which I had previously used with ATF4, and there's still a tiny little bit of that in there. So I'm going to sacrifice just a little bit of fluid
and pump it into the pan here. Get this cap off of here. So the spec calls for 1.6. Everything I'm seeing online, and other people that have done this and their recommendations and hints and tips and tricks, fill it until it comes out of the hole, and keep an eye on the side of your, whoops, oh shoot, that didn't stay on there. Keep it, keep an eye on the side of your quart, on your second quart, and when you start getting near the halfway point, then you know. So we'll get this kind of siphoned in here a little bit and sacrifice a little bit of fluid for, get that ATF4 out of there. That should probably do it. The hose is stained from the color, but so this fluid going in, unlike the transfer case, this is much lighter in color than the transfer case. The transfer case was whoops, get in there, you little bugger. The transfer case was the same color. This stuff is way lighter. But anyway, we'll start pumping in our first quart. That little bit that's still on the bottom, I'll transfer to the second quart, since you don't need the full second quart. And we'll get the second quart ready to go. Be ready to put the plug in as well. I gotta find it, here it is. So once it starts squirting out of there near the hat, well, I gotta pump about a half a quart in. Once it comes squirting out the hole, then we'll see if we can get that plug in there real quick. Coming up on 1 pint. Called for 1.6. So I'm at 1.5. I'm going to start pumping it slower, just because I don't want it to come whooshing out of there. We're past the 1.5 mark. Coming up on 400 milliliters left in the bottle. Here, any second, it's going to start dribbling out of there. Well, I'm at 1.75 on the bottle. I'm going to stop and actually, I'll give it one more good set of pumps here. Let's stop there. The reason why I want to stop is I'm at 1.8, and there it is. I stuck my finger right in there and it touched my finger, so try to minimize the waste and the slop here. So there we go. The fluid is right below the fill plug. That was 1 point, oh, I don't know, what am I at here? There's 8 ounces left in the bottle. So I put in a little bit more than it was rated for, but it's right at the bottom of the hole. I figured I'd just show you the simpleness of putting the exhaust back on. Everything looks good here. It's been probably another 10 minutes at least. I don't have any fluid hanging off the plug, but the fluid's cold, of course. So there we go. All you really got to do, I mean, you just slide that back up in there. I loosened my bracket on the ratchet strap, over to the control arm, and I think this was a good way to do this. So You know, anybody that's thinking about changing this and you can't get that brand new $15 tool in on the plug, you know, don't cut it down or do anything drastic. Just take this little crossover off. All right, so here's the fluid that came out. Obviously, it is way darker. There's some chunks in there. The pan was dirty, but you can see the kind of the sheen as I swish it around there. You can kind of see the little super fine metal particulate that's in there. At least I hope you can see that. It's those little wavy lines in there. So this was what I was really concerned about on this vehicle, since I didn't know how the previous owner treated it. I don't know if they ground the gears or what. I've been having that problem upshifting from 2 to 3 in low range, to where I'm grinding on it if I don't let it slow all the way down. So there we go. I'm gonna clean up the garage. We'll go take this thing for a drive and get that new oil warmed up. Okay, so I forgot to show you guys the total amount of fluid that went in. I forgot, I guess the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. On that fluid pump, you can't get all the fluid out of the bottle. So there was about 4 ounces approximately left in the other bottle. So when I transferred them out, you can see there's 300 milliliters left. So I basically put in, these are always a little higher than 800 on the thing. So I guess if you rounded up and called it assuming it was really at 1,000, I put 1.7 quarts of manual transmission fluid in the Jeep. It called for 1.6, so I was right on the money. But anyway, I forgot to show you that, so I just wanted to show you guys.